Hi Virgo, welcome to your May 2017 monthly tarot reading. My name is JJ. For any new viewers here, thank you for coming on board. It's a pleasure. So yes, you guys. May. What's going on in May for Virgo? Okay, you guys. I'm cutting down on the chatter. I am not feeling as conversational as I was this morning. I was a bit neurotic a few hours ago recording Aquarius's video. And by the way, you guys, yes, this works for your sun, your moon, and your rising. I don't say that enough, but in case anyone is wondering. And please bear in mind, these are general readings, so they won't always resonate. I don't really know who I'm reading for, save for a few recurring Virgo viewers of mine. Other than that, I welcome new viewers all the time here, and sometimes my readings are on point, sometimes they're not on point. Either way, I'm driven to bring you guys these readings every month, and I will keep going. I will keep going until the day comes that I feel otherwise. So, this seems to be a very action-oriented month for a lot of people. So far, the only sign that I've read for that I didn't really get that active vibe in has been Taurus, but I'm not even halfway done at all. I'm a bit late with the readings this month, so yes, apologies on that front. So it doesn't seem to be a very active-oriented month for Taurus, in case you have that anywhere in your birth chart. Although I have it in my birth chart, I foresee some movement, but nowhere significant. For you guys, Virgo, there is this unfortunate element of standing still and feeling like you're just stuck, not going anywhere. This is also feeling slightly betrayed. And I find this really interesting that it pops up in your reading now, and here's why. When I was reading for Aquarius, the Hermit card popped up right next to this Ten of Swords, and actually the Hermit was walking right into the Ten of Swords. I felt the need to mention Virgo as a sign in the Aquarius reading, and separate from the Hermit's characteristics per se, because sometimes I will read the Hermit card not for the mere fact of describing a Virgo, but just to insinuate what it may be like for the person watching to exhibit hermit-like symptoms. Hermit-ish symptoms. So I find it interesting that it now appears in your reading. Funnily enough, it's quite contradicted by the Eight of Wands that's appeared next to it, to the right, and to the left here we have this Three of Pentacles. We also have the Five of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles. Nope. So, whether we're talking about having certain conflicts in the workplace or in relation to recent agreements that you've tried to make with people, it can be about business, but it can also be about discussing moral values. Sometimes we clash with people that we're talking with. And you're quick to, you may be quick to take offense in this case. And just as quick to react. So, because this Ten of Swords can be very heavy, it weighs a heavy burden on a person's mental mindset. It's not a very comfortable feeling to have. You feel the need to strike back rather fast, but using a different approach. Now with the Eight of Wands, we're talking about not just sending off messages, but also receiving them very quickly. And I see these wands here as being thrown in both directions here. So while you may be, you are the ones sending out these messages, you're not the ones receiving them. At least that's the impression that I'm getting. And I feel as though this Eight of Wands is a reaction to the Ten of Swords. An almost instantaneous reaction, and one that inevitably leads to more arguments, more conflict, followed by the need to scurry away and to engage in a task that relaxes you and calms you down. I see the Eight of Pentacles as a form of distraction. Yes, it talks about hard work. Yes, it talks about pouring your heart and soul into something that you value and something that you do very well. Often this is represented as a talent. And in this case, I call it a distraction because it is often the best way that we can escape from certain realities that we don't wish to confront immediately, because you've already done the confronting, haven't you? You've already put yourself out there. You've already voiced your opinion. You've clashed with a few people, and you can't keep doing that every day, right? It gets tiring. It gets draining. And I don't mean to say that you are doing this every day. No, I just mean to say that we go through phases where some weeks are just a bit tougher than other weeks with other people. Some weeks you want to entirely disconnect and focus on your own personal growth, even your own spiritual growth here. You may want to focus on your family. I don't know why I'm shuffling. I think I have enough cards. But perhaps one more card wants to come out. Yeah, cool. It's a very beautiful card to end on, so I'm very, very, very glad I did that, Virgo. Okay, we'll get to it. Okay, so this first row here is where I see a lot of trouble. This is where I see the conflict, where I see the arguments happening, where I see the reactionary responses to the way certain people have made you feel. I don't get a very good indication of who these people may be to you. So I don't know. They can be friends, they can be family, they can be co-workers that you disagree with. They can be people that you ultimately might have to end up working with, and it can be a mix of those two as well. Friends with whom you work outside of a workplace. this combination here can be rather draining. And so I don't find it very surprising if you do end up just diving into your distraction, your talent, your passion that lets you escape from reality. And this can be anything. This can be writing, this can be painting, this can be singing in the shower, spending some time with family as well, to discuss more mundane things that don't usually end up erupting in any way. Although sometimes family talks can be just as stressful. And yet I feel that if you come together with your family now, it's a coming together that will encourage personal growth, spiritual transformation, and perhaps finding a new way of communicating with your family, your parents, your siblings, as a way to kind of also understand yourself, in a way to also try to understand where this reactionary response comes from. We can stop to ponder, if we're hot-tempered, for example, we will often question where this comes from. Sometimes we feel the need to point a finger, perhaps even blame genetics, right? It's funny to both want to own our personality and to own our individuality, but at the very same time, to feel the need to understand where it is that we come from. What causes us to behave the way that we do, communicate the way that we do? Is it cultural or is it nurtured? With the moon being in the reverse here, is the need to want to control. And this is also an element that's been recurring. And in your case though, Virgo, I feel like you will do this very, very well. So a lot of people have been seeing the moon card appear upright, and in this case it's in the reverse here. To me, that's a good thing. To me, it says that you have a head start in terms of understanding the best approach to take where others may struggle. So, I see you regaining control of the situation here. This is not to suggest that there isn't any anxiety, that there aren't any troubles. It just means that you're very good at not letting any anxiety that does come your way, not letting that control you. And that's wonderful, Virgo. This row, I feel like you are very much in your element, regardless of how it is that you got here, which comes after this conflict, right? We don't like to see conflict. We don't like to see this Ten of Swords. We don't like to see a harsh or fast response, one that comes usually without too much thinking. So this can be a little bit of a lethal combination, right? When you have the Ten of Swords and then you have the Eight of Swords come right after it, it's moving from stagnation into fast movement, just like that, all in one go, in 24 hours. You refuse to be stuck in this state, which is a good thing. You don't want to be in this state. And so you decide, F it. Why cause myself any more distress? I'm just going to move on, but I'm also going to say what's on my mind. And why this can be a little bit of a dangerous combination is because sometimes we forget to think before we speak. So we run the risk of hurting people with our words, with our thoughts. But yet in this case, you may feel like it's justified because whoever did this to you hurt you, obviously. Whoever did this to you, we can't guarantee feels any remorse or any guilt or any shame. So we are moving out of this Five of Wands although it is being replaced by this moon card in the reverse here. This is regaining control. This is not letting our fears get the best of us. This is facing obstacles and believing in your own potential. This is the best part of your reading. Believing in your own potential, relying on yourself, relying on everything that you've learned thus far. And even when it comes down to certain situations that you might not be fully knowledgeable of, because you believe in yourself, there is that unwavering strength there, that you can count on yourself. You seek out to overcome these obstacles, to just try. You can go from having a moment of weakness thinking, I can't do this, to no, get a hold of yourself. Put yourself back, get yourself together again and face these obstacles, because they can't be that bad, right? Just because maybe I don't have someone to support me there doesn't mean that I can't get this done on my own. It might be tough, it might be hard and time consuming, but heck, if I'm not going to do it, who's going to do it for me? And that's the attitude that I'm feeling here. This is regaining faith in your own potential, and this is really implementing that. The Empress is implementing that growth factor here. What do you make of this combination with the Queen of Swords and the Ace of Swords? As I feel as though this is a very nice continuation of the Moon card in the reverse when we talk about control and we talk about regaining control and wielding your own path with a sword. This is having control over your thoughts, your mental processes. Anything that you basically can't get your hands on in the physical world, you try to make up with how you decide to think about things, right? I mean, if we're struggling with our emotions, this is just hypothetical. If we struggle with our emotions, or if we struggle with how we communicate with people, or our finances, or anything tangible, then the best way to counter this effect is by turning to our own mental thought, as that seems to be our mind, seems to be the only thing that's left then for us to look at, for us to alter perhaps, because if we can alter the way that we think, and the way that we project our thoughts, our desires, then perhaps we can truly alter our behavior and help alter how people behave with us, if that happens to be a problem. And that's how I see these two cards here. I see this as an adoption of the kind of strong character a person wants to have when they are faced with people who seem to be causing them certain hurt time and time again, where here, rather than let those people have an effect on you and have an effect on the way that you think about yourself or the way that you think about other people, you take charge this time. You take charge and you say, no, I'm going to rise above this. This person, whoever it is, doesn't need to know why it is that I'm behaving the way that I am. I'm not going to justify it. Doesn't seem to work. I tried that, mind you. And where did that take me? This person came at me with 10 swords. All I need is one. You see? Less is sometimes more. And you stand by your response here. You stand by it. Because this, to some degree, is acting out of love. Whereas this Ten of Swords, it comes with a lot of pain and devastation, and usually as a result of some negative association. The Eight of Wands is more positive. The Eight of Wands, it comes out of love, and therefore if you decide to send anyone these arrows of love, you are sending messages, although they may be slightly harsh, especially if they are reactionary. You're sending them with some love, with some form of love there, and hoping to garner a more positive response this time around. You use this Eight of Wands as a gateway to grow with this Empress. The Empress is right beneath the Eight of Wands, and right beneath the Empress is this Nine of Wands. Is this building a foundation and a new way to circumvent the negativity somehow. I like this reading because I think it's very well balanced, because I think that there's a bit of everything here. It adds this panache, you know, so it starts off perhaps a little bit awkward. It starts off, you know, on a bit of a somber tone, but at the same time we're talking about working hard. We're talking about developing yourself, your identity, identifying with yourself in a different way, identifying with other people in a different way, because now you perhaps are able to perceive your thoughts in a way that's a lot more beneficial, not just for you, but for the people around you. And that way you're able to build up new ideas. The only card that I find a little bit, it's not off-putting, but out of place, is this Page of Swords. She's often seen as a spy. To me, the Page of Swords is a very paranoid character. She's someone who isn't entirely sure if she can trust the people around her. So we go from, you know, using this one sword to defend ourselves righteously as well, wisely, and we have our clarity, we have our clear mind here, to going a little bit woo, a little bit nuts here, midway through the month, I feel. Perhaps when it's time for the full moon in Scorpio, which is a very intense full moon. To have a moon in Scorpio is a rather intense time. So to have this full moon in Scorpio, I wouldn't be surprised if it starts to bring up a lot of our emotions, if it starts to make us wonder about things. And I'm just very interested to see how the mid-May is going to develop to begin with. But what I really like is this Two of Cups here. This Two of Cups, not so sure where to place it in your reading. However, this was the last card that came out. This was the card that I felt, okay, I mean, I didn't need any more cards, right? But I continued shuffling, and then I got this Two of Cups. Because if you're going to have any reaction this month, then let it be a reaction that brings you closer to yourself, to your identity. This Two of Cups doesn't have to talk about meeting a new person. It doesn't even have to talk about coming closer to anyone that you already have in your life. It can really talk about unifying with your own soul, with your own purpose, feeling comfortable with that. It's admiring, if you are a female, admiring your masculine energy, and if you are a male, admiring your female energy. Perhaps it is looking at things from a yin and yang filter as well. It's engaging in our other identities. It's also another way I see this. This is very dark energy. This is light energy. Receiving this sort of darkness and then reacting with this love. Receiving this hate, reacting with love. Rather than see family as a burden, you can see family as an opportunity to grow with this Empress card. Because sometimes coming home to family, especially if you are independent and you like to be on your own sometimes going back to family is a very good way of tapping into our grassroots, what makes us who we are. Coming back to family for love, coming back to family to empower us. So this is how I see that Two of Cups here. Although, hey, you never know. This Two of Cups can also just mean you meet someone eventually. You meet someone who comes and makes you feel better about yourself. Or someone who starts to notice you because of this shift. In the way that you think. Just having a look here to see if there are any recurring numbers. Apart from these 2 10s here that talk about completion. No numbers really strike me as odd. We have 2 3s, and 3s talk about movement. For me, when I see 2 3s in a reading, to me that talks about success. Something to look forward to that way. Beautifully spiritually attuned reading, in my opinion. Virgo, I like this reading, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. So I will be back next month, as usual, and I look forward to anything that you may have to say, of course. Feel free to drop me a comment. As usual, I appreciate all your subscribes. I appreciate all your likes. You guys are wonderful. So thank you for sticking around. And I will see you next month. Namaste, my friends. Bye.